I have to share this story with you all. For the last 3 weeks, I have been trying to make a homemade bread. And I have been cooking since the age of 8 years old, but I don't ever use recipes or measuring tools. I always cook without measuring. And I am sure many Hispanic people will understand. Anyways, I watched a video and used their quick bread recipe. After all, bread making requires not too many ingredients like water, salt, sugar, yeast, oil, and flour. Sounds easy, right? So I'm here to tell you that bread making requires a lot of patience and balance and kneading techniques that I have not yet mastered, but I was willing to challenge myself and tackle the bread making process. My first bread smelled delicious. It looked delicious, but it was extremely hard, perhaps a little too much flour. While it tasted okay, it was unbearably hard. My second bread, again, perfect example of what a bread should look in the outside. However, it tasted too salty. I used a tablespoon of salt instead of a teaspoon of salt as it required by the recipe, because I was not patient enough to notice the spoon that I was using. Okay, so today I'm going on my third try of my bread making journey. I tried getting creative like I normally do when I'm doing paintings. So I tried using a different twist and using milk and butter in an attempt to make a softer bread. I don't know how it's going to come out yet. I am waiting for it to grow and so that way I can bake it in the oven. I'm including a picture of the process so you can see in this video. So let's see, hopefully it will work this time. So I stopped for a second and I was contemplating on this whole process and I asked God, what are you trying to teach me about this binge that I've been in making bread? And I realized that there's a message coming out of this. And I asked, what is the importance of bread or bread making? So I looked it up in the Vine's Expository Dictionary. And the word for bread in Greek is artos, which derives from the word arrow, which means to fit together or from a root the earth. In Matthew 16 verse 11, how is it that you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread, but to be aware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees? And this verse is speaking about the leaven as a symbol for evil, as the doctrines of the Pharisees and the Sadducees was one of legalism and hypocrisy. In the very same way, God is warning us that we now face many different leavened recipes on what is the one true bread of life, mixing with worldly doctrines. We understand that Jesus is the one true bread of life. In Matthew 26:26, as they were eating, Jesus took the bread and blessed it and broke it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." Again, symbolically meaning God's body and ultimately his sacrifice for us in the cross. 1 Corinthians 10:4, and all drank of the spiritual rock that followed them, and that rock was Christ. But with most of them, God was not well pleased, for their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. And this verse speaks on that while many follow the same God and they follow the same principles, they fail to live a Christ-like life. In John 14 verse 6, Jesus said to him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." And in John 6:35, then Jesus declared, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." God bless.